There have been some embarrassing reviews drop in the first 24 hours of release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but none are more cringe than VG247's, which I actually didn't know, and based on their Twitter bio, they're linked with IGN, okay? So it kind of makes sense where they're just so pathetic and even more distilled cringe. They can go ahead and say the more radical stuff that the wannabe objective IGN, I'm not trying to say that IGN is objective by any means, but they want to have the more tepid takes and leave the more scandalous stuff to VG247. And this right here, given the fact, right, like they're linked at the hip, and IGN gave Shadows an 8 out of 10, but VG247 gives it a goal, gives it an old 5 stars or 100 if you're looking on Rotten Tomatoes. But okay, cool. So this is a perfect video game by your metric, right? 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, however you want to rate it. That's what the brand new outing, this is what the new installment in the Assassin's Creed franchise gives you. For every crack, there's a layer of gold. Well, if it's perfect, why would there be a crack? Okay, but the line that everybody's running with, and justifiably so after looking at that 5-star review, there are problems with Assassin's Creed Shadows for sure. You gave it a perfect score. If you can point out to any sort of noticeable problems, bro, that's not perfect by any means. And as Flash points out, Assassin's Creed Shadows may have problems, but it's so fun to play. I mean, when you get gameplay like this, bro, I mean, it's... hey, how could you possibly not give this a 10 on 10, right? Yep. Just right there in front. Not doing anything about it. Oh.
Hey, now.
Oh, there, there we go. Oh, no, got him. Oh, okay, what about this? Oh, the
You
big
can't
kick.
hide forever.
Yep, nope, can't hide. I mean, that couple of inches of grass. I'll link to this, obviously. You can watch the rest of the minute 40 that's there. But I watched a little bit of gameplay today. At least today at time of recording, but yesterday when the game dropped in early access for people. Well, not early access, I guess. Maybe it is kind of early access, because if you buy the deluxe edition on Steam or Ubisoft or whatever, your chosen digital outlet, I'm sure 6 people might have bought physical copies, but I digress. You got early access a day before everybody else does. And well, I was watching several hours of Az, heel versus babyface play, and it was very, very much like Star Wars Outlaws, from what I recall. It's been a minute since I watched, but yeah, a lot of the stealth, quote-unquote stealth, was very pathetic, and it also unlocked a lot of key memories as somebody who, yeah, I've played through and beat, I don't know if like 100% of them, but at least completed them to a high degree where I completed all of the, objective markers on the screen. Might not have got all the collectibles or any of the, feathers or shit like that, but, did as best as I could on the original Assassin's Creed, the Ezio trilogy, 3 for sure, and then I just dropped off. After playing an hour or two of Black Flag, it really didn't hit with me. I don't know, man. For as many people say that that's the greatest one ever, it didn't resonate with me. I might have to go back, might have to try it out here. I know I got a couple of different copies on a bunch of different platforms, so yeah, at some point in time, I'll eventually run it back. But yeah, looking at the combat, it's like, wow, really, a return to form, right? After we looked at everything yesterday when they were saying, oh yeah, so the Assassin's Creed really is a return to form. Yeah, so much that it was really reminiscent of so many previous iterations of that combat, because holy crap, man, it really was just glorified QTEs back in the day. Like, once you started to get surrounded by the Templars, you would just continue to back up and move out of the way, and then you'd wait for somebody to just start glowing and take big lunges at you, and then you'd hit whatever it was, like X or square, and then you could go ahead and get around them and, attack them that way, and you wouldn't really want to go head on because, again, you're an assassin at the end of the day, and the whole idea is to use your hidden blade and be real cool about it. And yeah, that used to be what was awesome about this, right? Like, if you had a target in mind and you could sneak up behind them, you could drop in behind them. This is especially prevalent in the first Assassin's Creed, and honestly, to me, I think it's probably, I might have to go back and play it before I make any definitive statements, so I'll just go ahead and check that claim there for a second. But just dropping in and then just going around the corner and then waiting for somebody to come by and then just stick them with the hidden blade, that was so cool. But you don't have to worry about that with Assassin's Creed Shadows, because if you're Naoe, okay, or Naoe, I think is the proper way to say it. Again, like, I was watching a bit of it, but also kind of dozing off in between. You could just walk up and it's like you get the assassination prompt, and then you just stab somebody and you just walk by and literally nobody cares. It's very pathetic. The AI is atrocious. The stealth is practically non-existent, but hey, you got a cool house builder and some of the foliage looks good. But outside of that, like the animations, like the way that Naoe runs, it's like she got flumpy ass Rachel Zegler at the Oscars arms, and the legs are doing something totally different. And then when you get the close-up on the faces, which we'll probably take a look at more tomorrow because there's just so much stuff to talk about both Snow White and Assassin's Creed that we just got wall-to-wall coverage. I was kind of anticipating that, but I also didn't realize how pathetic this was ultimately going to get. But I digress here for a second. Just the animations, it just looks so bad, man. Like, there really hasn't been that much of a leap outside of the foliage and some of the It's interesting, right? Because some of the weather effects, because I've seen it, when it's super foggy out in the game. We're talking about in the game here. And like I said, the grass looks good, the leaves look good, especially on high settings. But when it comes to the rain, and oh yeah, it makes your clothes wet, it's like, well, yeah, you should probably be doing that. But if you're hopping on, okay, and we're talking about next-gen games and different weather effects. If you're hopping around on rooftops with clay tiles and it's in a downpour, wouldn't you think in a game as sophisticated as this is supposed to be from a quadruple A studio, wouldn't you think that that would have deleterious effects on your footing? Like, okay, clay tiles in downpouring rain, like you should be slippy slappy and sliding all over the place. But no, it's totally fine. It's just simply raining. Nothing really affects it, especially when it comes to stealth. And in your Assassin's game, that doesn't factor in at all. It's like, the people aren't looking around for footprints in the mud or anything like that. Hell, it doesn't even really affect, like, outside of making your getup all wet, crawling around in the dirt doesn't make you dirty. It's just it's superficial beauty for anybody trying to say that, oh man, this game looks fantastic. Yeah, some of the aspects look great, but the rest of it, realistically, could have come out of the 7th generation, could have been on an Xbox 360, and you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. And that's kind of what PC Gamer is coming to the conclusion of, which is kind of wild, right? Because Assassin's Creed Shadows has convinced me that Ubisoft will never make a good RPG, and that's kind of the thing, man. They've been good at making Ubisoft games for a very long time. What do I mean by that? They kind of had the market cornered, go ahead and get that right this time around, but on open world games. And a lot of people, they would take bits and pieces of it, but when Ubisoft was really cooking in the late 2000s, early 2010s, they had the formula down pat, okay? Assassin's Creed 2 and the Ezio trilogy and Far Cry 3, they had it, man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The biggest hurdle that Ubisoft had to overcome, and the worst thing to happen to them as a studio, was to have the back-to-back smash hits of Assassin's Creed 2 and Far Cry 3, because they never learned and they never innovated on that formula. They just simply trotted it out every couple of years, either made it third person or first person, and then just attributed a franchise tag to it from there. And no, man, the skill tree progression from Far Cry was just always lackluster, to say the least. And when it came to Assassin's Creed, at least from the ones that I played, a lot of the progression came from the different armor that you could get and the weapons that you could acquire. And then of course, some of the leveling that I seen this time around, it's like, okay, cool, new skills to unlock. Yeah, but what about your actual attributes? Now I can't do any of that stuff. Okay, cool. That's not exactly a deal breaker for me, in so much as, people saying, oh, the stealth is really bad, therefore it's not an Assassin's game. Oh, if it says Assassins in the title, it should be an Assassin game. It's like, okay, it probably should have those aspects, but if you have really fun gameplay in a different way, I mean, getting hung up on genre definitions, that's always kind of cringe. But realistically, the nicest thing I can say about this game is it's trying to be a jack of all trades, and it ends up being a master of none. And so, yeah, Ubisoft will never make a good RPG, mostly because they're not going to have an opportunity to make another good RPG because, well, the release, as a boy Geralt of Gunia points out right here, Ubisoft messed up once again and released Assassin's Creed Shadows on Steam 4 hours early. And, well, it was slow going, to say the least. But then again, right, like, you tell people that, yeah, okay, the game's going to release at X time, and then it comes out 4 hours early. Obviously, if people are going to be online and then just constantly refreshing, going, oh my god, when's my Assassin's Creed game going to unlock? Or maybe they got a prompt if they had pre-installed it, and it's like, okay, now it's available for you, and it's like, what the hell? Okay, that's kind of crazy, but that's just the least of their worries. And initial numbers look poor, but it's a premature release, so we'll see. And then we ended up seeing, and yeah, then we got hit with this earlier today. Hey, it's 4 p.m. here in Canada. Well, you get take a look at where I'm at in my neck of the woods. So yeah, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, all of a sudden you got, hey, there's 1 million people playing the game and counting. Oh my God, we hit peak player count at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, huh? That's kind of interesting, right? So I guess the international audience is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, or maybe some of the kids that are on spring break right now, or really enjoying this quasi-historical epic. Yeah, I don't really think so, man. And I take a look at those numbers right there, and I'm just wondering how much heavy lifting is the Ubisoft Plus subscription doing? And I guess everybody else must be playing off of Steam, because the Steam numbers, bro, that's tough. That's real tough. 41,412 people. Okay, and as we record right now, a little over 30,000 people playing right now. But of course, I got to add the caveat, and we're got to be fair on this one, right? Because obviously over the weekend, you're going to hit your peaks somewhere in on and around Sunday afternoon to evening is normally when these things hit critical mass. And so not until like Monday or Tuesday, I'll do my update on the destruction report. But tomorrow's going to be interesting as well. Tomorrow, and well, I guess today when you guys are watching this, it's tomorrow when I'm recording this, Thursday evening, obviously. That's when everybody who bought like the regular editions get an opportunity to play the game. It's just 41,000 people on PC's biggest platform, and where you have a plurality of your audience. It's numbers really don't add up. I don't know where you're getting them, because according to Ubisoft, right, like 1 million players and counting, and we just dropped some free games for Ubi Connect, and it's like, is this number accurate? Can anyone confirm? Like, I know it's doing good, really, but 1 million already. Yes, we can confirm. So yeah, we have 1 million players. What's your source? Trust me, bro. But in general, man, like, you take a look at those numbers, and it's not great. But of course, like I said, man, the caveat of that being simply for the people that bought the higher tiers, okay? Your probably deluxe and gold editions, and you got the day early access to it. So yeah, I would imagine, and I think I said before, right? Like, I would put this somewhere in on around 80-90 million people over the weekend, because I don't really see it hitting, and especially with this first wave of players, I don't see it hitting high 6 digits. I definitely don't see it doing Monster Hunter Wilds numbers, which it definitely needs in order for Ubisoft to survive as a studio. And then you delve a little bit deeper in the numbers, and you go, I just don't know where these players are coming from. Assassin's Creed Shadows flops on Steam launch day. Fails to break into the top 30 games as access media sites heap critical praise, right? Like VG 24/7, man, that's a perfect game. IGN gives it an 8 on 10, and all of the other sites 8s and 9s and 10s across the board. The release of Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to be Ubisoft's saving grace. After months of delays, backlash, and a marketing campaign marred by controversy, all eyes were on how the game would perform on its launch day. But the numbers are in for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're not looking good for Ubisoft, particularly on Steam. According to the Steam charts, Assassin's Creed Shadows peaked at just 41,412 concurrent players on launch day, making it the 36th most played game on Steam for the day. It's a disastrous result for a big budget AAA title backed by one of the largest publishers in the industry. To put that into perspective, Shadows was soundly beat by older titles like Red Dead Redemption 2 that came when did that game come out? 2019, 2018, 2019? Indie favorites like Stardew Valley and the newly released Marvel rivals, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Helldivers 2, all of which boast higher player counts with more organic enthusiasm among gamers. Yeah, exactly, because those right there are all AA hits that just dominated the charts in recent years. But Assassin's Creed, with all of that brand recognition, and the people that, man, because in the lead up to the release of this game, when people are wondering, well, okay, it's a legacy brand and name recognition does mean something. So yeah, this game's gonna do numbers. I just don't know, like how much this is gonna affect it. And the controversy was really hot, a while back. So maybe some of their delays ended up helping it. There's just been a lot of cope around people trying to hedge their bets whether or not the flop of Shadows was going to be as spectacular as it is. And it's like, like, nah, bro. These are games that cost a considerable amount of money. This has been a horrendous marketing cycle. There has been nothing to really make people enthusiastic about this game at a point in time where everybody's kind of done with this bullshit from the AAA gaming space. Like, you look around at contemporaries, right? Like, when was the last genuine strings of AAA games coming out and they were categorical hits? We have a very few and far between examples of AAA games performing up to expectations. Okay, Monster Hunter Wilds exceeded, but everything else, It's like the same cope with Snow White, which we'll get into with the next video, obviously, but it never resonated with me. I always thought that this game was going to be a disaster, but 41,000 early players, I mean, on the biggest platform, I don't know, man, because we also have other comparisons to draw out here, and yeah, as Grums has got it, Assassin's Creed fails harder than the Veilguard on PC launch day. Both games launched on a Thursday, and by this time, Dragon Age had peaked at 70,000. Oh, okay, so Assassin's Creed Shadows, yes, peaked at 41,000. It ranks 30th on Steam, not even top 10, very bad for a AAA title. I'd love to run these numbers back, and we likely will. Tuesday, I'll probably have that video out, and unless something goes completely insane over the weekend, don't worry about it. We'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, the comparison of full release to full release here, I think that'll be far more apples to apples. Both games, yes, were available on console and subscription services as well, but Ubisoft Plus has far fewer members than Xbox Game Pass. Oh yeah, right. Well, Avowed would have been on Game Pass, but yeah, Dragon Age the Veilguard was on EA's subscription service, and I don't even know what the hell they call theirs at this point, but at one point in time, what was it? Was it EA Plus as well, or EA Edge, or fucking whatever? Numbers will go higher over the weekend, yeah, but nothing indicates that this will be anywhere near the success scale of 300,000 plus that other successful and far cheaper games have been doing on Steam. Yeah, in the past year, approximately 36% of revenue comes from PC for Ubisoft, and 64% from console. So yeah, maybe, man, maybe everybody is just firing up their Xbox, blowing their dust off their PS5s, and maybe that's where, okay, the other 960,000 players are at. Has to be, right? Because Ubisoft and all of these first-party companies wouldn't lie to us, right? Or accept the fact that, well, okay, cool, yeah, thank you guys for 1 million players and counting, right? We got 1 million players in our first few hours, which is exactly what the likes of Avowed, reaching 5.9 million players since launch. And who the fuck is talking about Avowed now? And what are we looking at when it comes to closing down Obsidian? All right, the same talks we're unfortunately going to have in the coming months in regards to Ubisoft when we start talking a little bit more strongly about those buyout rumors. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.